your show is about 11 years of foreign policy. And let me make some opening remarks before I go on to talk about that. Something was said about the G20 by the BJP spokesperson. G20 hosting is cyclical. You were supposed to get it 2 years back. You wanted to delay it to 2024. All right, no issues with that. But every member of the G20 is going to host that meeting because it's cyclical. Every member gets to do so because it's going to happen in Brazil now. 2611. That's the only thing I want to say before I move on to foreign policy. Don't you dare bring up 2611 because after 2611, every perpetrator, every terrorist was hunted down. They were gunned down, they were arrested and then hanged till death. The difference between 2611 and Pahalgam today is that none of the terrorists of Pahalgam terror attack have so far been arrested. It happened on the 22nd of April, almost 50 days to that event. Reality is that Riyasi, where, devotees were attacked in a bus, a year later, not a single arrest made. That's the difference. We hunted down terrorists and made them meet their maker. That's the first thing I want to say. And let's move on to 11 years of foreign policy. I want to make a rather big picture statement and more as an Indian and of course as a congresswoman here. In the last 11 years, we have seen foreign policy being replaced by photo ops. Diplomacy has been consistently replaced by photo ops. Diplomacy is not hugging. Diplomacy is not going and getting pictures clicked in a certain angle that you look strong. Diplomacy is that you put India's interest first. And I want to enumerate a few points that will establish what has happened. Let's talk about what has recently happened and then we will go further. And this is the last point I want to make and then I'm sure you will come back to me in the discussion. Operation Sindoor is of course going to be successful because we have absolute faith in the valor and courage of our disciplined armed forces. They taught Pakistan and gave Pakistan a bloody blow. Mr. Modi decided to do a ceasefire. On what conditions, one does not know. That's the first point. The second point is what happened thereafter and where did our diplomacy fail? Pakistan gets an IMF loan and that IMF loan was given despite our resistance and not a single nation supported us against that loan. That's IMF. World Bank has decided to give a $40 billion aid. ADB, Mr. Modi meets the ADB chief on the 1st of June. On the 3rd of June, 48 hours later, ADB decides to give Pakistan $800 million. The biggest failure has been that Pakistan and India that were hyphenated after 2611, Pakistan was seen as a dubious terror state, is now being dehyphenated. The US president speaks about Pakistan and India in the same breath. We cannot be spoken about in the same breath. We are a democracy. We are a strong country. Pakistan is a dying nation. It harbors terrorists. And the last point I want to make. Pakistan goes ahead and gets a chairmanship of Taliban in the UN Security Council. It gets, and so ironical, a terror state like Pakistan gets to get the vice chairmanship of the Counter-Terror Committee and we keep quiet. What happened to our influence in these multilateral agencies? We go to Kuwait on the 27th of May and on the 28th Kuwait lifts a 19-year ban on Pakistan visas. I mean, somebody has to turn around and ask the question, what is happening to our diplomacy? I'm sure we'll talk about America and China, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal in just a bit.
I'll come to them in just a moment. Step by